Okay everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Mike Newton down here at Penrith Golf Hub, and we've got a utility iron to review for you in this particular video, and it's a Callaway and it's new X-Forged UT iron. So driving irons, always very popular. I tend to use these a lot myself, so very excited to obviously give this one a hit and a test. First impressions, it does look really nice, so looking forward to hitting this. We've got TRACKMAN on the floor as always, so we'll provide you with some numbers as well as my personal feedback on the looks and the feel of this particular club. Okay, so XUT iron from Callaway. So as I say, these tend to be for a lot of golfers like replacement clubs, maybe for that backup option off the tee, maybe if driver's not going your way or struggling a little bit with control, or you've got that sort of tighter hole. Typically golfers might just revert into this type of iron. Generally a little bit harder to use obviously than a traditional hybrid club, so tend to be after a little bit better on that ball striking, maybe a little bit more speed to maybe get one of these to actually get, you know, its full benefit out of the actual shot itself. But again, it really depends on the play. It's personal preference whether you prefer to hit an iron. You might not like hybrids. Irons tend to be sort of that next best option in the utility. So this is a 21 degree, so it's like a 3-iron. So we're going to hit some shots, get underway, and just putting that down by the golf ball. First impressions, it's really nice. It's a good looking club and not bulky or chunky, which I quite like. So obviously we see a lot of utility irons tend to be sort of beefed up, really big fat sole. We see a lot protruding at the back of the club as we look at it in that playing position, and we can just see a tiny bit there, but not a lot. I'm guessing we'll see a little bit more of that as you lose the loft, so maybe going to 18 degree, you might just see a little bit more of that back section, but it does look very nice at behind the ball. Very much an iron, obviously an iron look. Oh, I've struck that one great, but I've pulled that up that left hand side. I've really hit that well. 145 ball speed, that flew off the club face. Yeah, 246 carrying, a little bit pulley, so that's probably going to go a bit longer. Felt superb, the sound was really nice there. Okay, that's a better direction, much more neutral there. Very good penetrating flight, as you'd expect these sort of clubs, and I think as the club would go slightly slimmer in its appearance, and obviously not as much weight sort of pulled back and down, probably you would maybe expect to see that slightly more penetrating ball flight, which I really like. You know, I would use this quite a lot on the golf course, to be honest, try and get that ball in play. If it's windy, trying to hit it through that wind, very much into this sort of club. Bulkier, sometimes easy to get popped up. Obviously I've got a bit more speed, maybe more than some average golfers, but again, this is where if you haven't got the speed and you struggle to flight the ball, this might be a little bit tougher. You might want to be going something a little bit bulkier, possibly then into that hybrid. Ooh, right, that's a bit of a bottom groover. It's flown up quite nicely actually. I'm interested to see, yeah, we dropped a bit of speed. That was pretty clean. 134, 215, dropped off quite a bit there. So that's probably my point there. It won't be the most forgiving golf club. So again, you've got to test this. You've got to see what your strike patterns are like. That was quite a low strike, and it suffered there, hasn't it? I've lost a bit of ball speed and obviously a little bit of distance because of that. So what technology are we looking at here? We've got artificial flash face, cup face technology we've seen in other products from Callaway. So again, trying to keep that ball speed up and around that face. I've probably just blown that out of the water there, hitting that strike. I've lost quite a lot of ball speed. So I think that is quite subtle on just around that centre. So definitely type club generally aimed at that better player, that golfer who can strike the ball a little bit more consistently with, as I say, with a bit of speed. I think that's the key to use these sort of clubs. We've got a forged 1025 carbon steel body. Again, it's a hollow construction, so it's giving that sort of feel. And I think I would agree with that. The feel of this is very nice. I think the sound and the acoustics is nice as well. Oh, that was a nice shot. It's a good strike, good sound, good flight. Feels great. It does feel very nice. Yeah, 245. So when I get that strike there, the ball speed's up around that 144, 145. Very good carry distance. So the other thing you'll notice, which is quite visual in the back section, we've got this sort of grey material. That's tungsten basically. So replacing it, screwed in tungsten, getting that CG very sort of precise in that back section, right behind that hitting area. For again, getting that consistency of ball coming off the club face, as well as obviously creating a little bit more mass behind that hitting area for increasing a little bit of speed. Oh, that's a nice shot, probably the best one that. Very neutral flight, it's up there, it's going forward. Very straight golf shot there. Just hit them like that all the time would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, really good. Perfect numbers there for me. I think that's it's a club I always feel comfortable with. As I say, I carry something like this in my bag. Generally have an 18-degree 2-iron. So the shaft that I've got in here is actually a stock option. It's the Project XU, so it's a steel shaft. 110 grams, and it's a 6.0, so it's stiff. I'll probably go into an extra stiff just to create a little bit more stability as a feel for me, and maybe just try and get that flight a little bit more penetrating as my sort of preference. But to be honest, that feels good. I quite like the lighter option in these utility irons. Just makes it a little bit easier to sort of swing, so you'll see a lot of graphite shafted utility irons as standard, and there is an option there as well to have hazardous graphite in there as well, which again is quite a sort of firm, stable shaft as well, so that's always a good option to sort of try. Oh, that's me pull again. That's me bad shot. That's not the club, that's me, unfortunately. Okay, so what's available in these? These come in an 18, a 21 and a 24 degree. So basically a 2, a 3 and a 4 iron, and available in both right and left-handers. So you left-handers out there, be pleased to know you'll be able to get your mitts on one of these clubs. Yeah, that feels absolutely superb. Very nice. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. The sound of it's very, very good. Numbers look to be good, but let's go and check those out in a little bit more detail. Okay, so let's check a few numbers out. So club head speed, 97 mile an hour, ball speed, 142.4 on average. So you can see there's that really bad strike, hit right off that bottom groove, see 134. That was a real extreme strike, to be fair. But the other strikes, you can see ball speed, just as I'm subtly moving my strike around, you see 141 up to 145. So fairly sort of tight there, really, for a long iron. It's sort of acceptable, isn't it? Launching at that 13 degree sort of mark, spin at 3,100, so 3 iron, very acceptable there. It's got a good amount of spin on there to keep it in the air, but it's launching and going forward. Peaking out 86 feet, and you can see the carry averaging at 240. So if I maybe just take that real bad strike out there, number, that particular one, and we can see there, yeah, 244 carry. We've gone from 240 to 247, so only 7 yards from front to back. Again, just I'm subtly changing that strike around. Okay, everybody, so there we go. There's the new Callaway X-Forge UT iron. I think that's a very nice club. It definitely ticks a box for me, you know, in terms of that long iron. I like the fact that it's not too bulky, because I do get a lot of golfers who come for fits. They like to have that utility iron, but sometimes put off with that really chunky sort of look. So I think the similar look is definitely a market there for those players. I think you've just got to have, as I mentioned earlier, a good consistent strike pattern for me, and a little bit of speed. So if you haven't got those, you might just struggle a little bit more with this type of iron. But again, my message to you, as always, is go out and try, go and get fitted, try a couple of different shaft options, see how it fits in as gap into your set, because obviously these are going to be more like a long iron replacement, you know, to make sure that it's going to do a job that it needs to do in your golf bag. Okay, post comments down below, let me know your thoughts of the new Callaway X-Forge UT iron. Appreciate your comments as always. I'll get back to as many of you as I possibly can. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Please just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notifications of any future videos. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you all very soon.